Okay, we're back. Having some
Damn
technical
you, Kevin
problems.
Spacey.
I
Like
know,
Kevin
he's trying
Spacey.
to shut us down. He can't shut us down. Okay, let's go. Continue, Justin.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and talk about something else.
Enough of it.
Enough about Kevin Spacey. So, The Orville, which is the show we've enjoyed this season, I'm a couple episodes behind, got renewed for season 2 by Fox.
Yay!
Which will be good, so that'll come back next season. And it's been doing fairly well in the ratings. Did better on Sundays than Thursdays, but still, it's doing good. And I'm happy to see that back. So it's funny that both that and Star Trek Discovery will be back next year.
Yeah, that makes me so happy. Those are 2 really good shows. They're doing great jobs.
Yes, and there's one show that is pretty much on the verge of cancellation. A few weeks ago, we talked about the first episode of Me, Myself, and I, which was CBS's show starring Bobby Moynihan, John Larroquette, Urkel, and they have pulled it from the schedule, claim it'll be back at some point, and it'll be replaced by that Matt LeBlanc show, Man with a Plan, in a couple weeks. So it's currently off of CBS's schedule.
It hasn't been good.
I thought it had potential. I liked the idea, but the payoff in the execution just was not very enjoyable for me.
Yeah, I agree.
So kind of interesting that between that and 10 Days in the Valley are kind of our first 2 pseudo cancellations of the year.
They won't admit to it, but for
it's weird at this point. They like to outright cancel shows anymore. What they'll do is they'll pull and they'll say it'll be back at a later date, or they'll just be silent about it. And then once the new schedule comes out or around that time, because they want backup plans just in case. If all their new shows of the year, all their pilots are complete garbage, they'll be like, oh, look, I guess we still have Me, Myself, and I that we can put on the schedule for next year.
I guess that's to throw it in and fill in some space.
Yeah, which we've seen that before. And there was a weird show, not Hostages, Ransom, maybe, that was on CBS that aired like a year and a half, 2 years ago. And then everyone thought it was on Saturday nights. Everyone thought it was canceled. And CBS is like, oh, yeah, we're bringing it back for a second season. It's like, what? Kind of a weird story.
I guess there's only so many Big Bang Theory episodes you could.
Yes. And next season we'll get young Sheldon. It'll be like Sheldon as a fetus.
A fetus.
Can't wait for that. So right now we're seeing obviously a lot of Marvel TV shows. We still got Inhumans and S.H.I.E.L.D. on ABC. We got all the Netflix shows. Cloak and Dagger is coming to Freeform. The show that's getting really good reviews, Runaways, is coming to Hulu in a couple weeks. I cannot wait for that. But there's another show that Freeform ordered a while ago called New Warriors, semi-based on one of my favorite comic series of the 90s. They're trying to put a little more comedic spin and add another character that wasn't originally in that series. But I was still so excited to see some of the New Warriors come to TV. And that character is Squirrel Girl. She's a real character. And I'm so looking forward to this. And then Freeform's like, yeah, well, we ordered 10 episodes, but we don't have room for this in our 2018 schedule. We're too busy showing Harry Potter. And I don't know. And so now it's looking for a new home. And I'm hoping it finds a home because I was actually looking forward to this TV show.
Isn't that the one Anna Kendrick wants to play in a movie or something?
Yes, that's the character, Anna Kendrick. A lot of people wanted Anna Kendrick to play or Barb from Stranger Things to play.
Wow,
very different
body types.
And the person they ended up going for, because they filmed, I don't know if they filmed the whole series. They definitely filmed the pilot. And the character they ended up going for is, I don't know if you're going to remember her, from last year on This Is Us, that mousy playwright girl that Kevin.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so she's going to be Squirrel Girl.
I knew her from something. I can't remember what now, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I remember when I saw her name, I'm like, who is this? And I looked her up. I looked at her face. I'm like, who is this? And then I read her IMDb. I'm like, her. And, oh, you know who else is going to be in New Warriors? Baby Daddy Brother.
The hot one that I like?
Yes, the one you like.
Oh, well, now I'll have a reason to watch that show.
Yeah, this show needs to happen. Yeah, he's playing a character named Mr. Immortal, which is against someone who just can't die.
Good. So then there's no reason for him to ever leave the show.
He'll be on the series the whole, yeah. So I really want the show to happen. I'm guessing maybe we'll get it picked up by Hulu. Some people are also speculating maybe it'll go to Disney's streaming service when that launches, but that's not supposed to launch until 2019.
Oh, that's a long way away.
So that's a long way away. And especially if I were like an actor on the show under contract, like you don't want to be stuck with that contract all the way through 2019.
Oh, this is interesting. Will we get the show first, or will we get Game of Thrones first? I wonder.
Oh, that's good. Probably game. No, I don't know. Like, at least it has a network. This doesn't even have a network yet. But this network, this like stupid channel Freeform where all they show is like Harry Potter movies and Hocus Pocus. Like they don't have room for like a half-hour comedy every week.
Why doesn't Netflix buy it?
That could be a possibility too. They are shopping it around. I think Hulu's probably more likely, and I think Hulu will happen if Runaways is a success, which I'm hoping it will be. And I've heard it's very good. If Runaways is a success, I could see them, especially because Disney owns like 30% stake in Hulu, that I can kind of see them, and Freeform is a Disney channel, I can see them picking it up. So that's what I'm predicting will happen, but we won't know. Hopefully we'll know soon. But I want it to happen because I want to watch that show.
What is Squirrel Girl's power? Like just to like eat nuts?
I think she's got super strength, and she can like talk with squirrels.
What super strength? What does that have to do with a squirrel?
Maybe she does. I don't know, because she's fought Galactus before, so I'm not 100% sure. She was kind of introduced as a joke character back in the early.
She can talk to squirrels. That's probably really handy.
Well, imagine Barb doing that. No, she was introduced in the early 90s, like 1991, and just as a joke character, throwaway character. And then years later, like a comic creator brought her back, and all of a sudden she kind of got a cult following, and she's had an ongoing comic series since. And it's kind
we tend to love underdogs, and she's somebody that sounds a little bit underdogish, right?
Yeah, she's one of those that's just always optimistic and happy. And an underdog, and I think I would watch this. I'm looking forward to it. So hopefully we'll see it. So CBS Access, I would assume it's safe to assume that I would call Star Trek Discovery a success. If it was not a success, they would not have renewed it. Did you hear what they're trying to do as one of their next big shows?
No.
They want to revive the Twilight Zone.
You know what? I loved the original Twilight Zone, and I loved the movie that they made in the 80s. If they do it right, there's so much potential. There's so much more creepier things in the world now than there were then.
Yeah, I think it would go good. Did you watch the early 2000s version on UPN?
I don't think so.
Hosted by Forrest Whitaker?
No, I don't think I did. Maybe I saw 1 or 2 episodes, but
he was the Rod Serling. Yeah, that's one of those things that they haven't tried too many times to bring back. That's the only time I could think of. So,
was there not an 80s version? Just the movie, maybe. I don't know. Okay.
But I feel like this could work. I feel like it could be interesting.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be I think it would do better on All Access than it would do on the network.
Yeah, well, because you can go kind of maybe a little gorier or maybe a little more out there than you might on a network station.
Yeah, where I feel like Discovery, they probably should have been network. But obviously they want the Trekkies to subscribe to it. So.
Yeah.
But I think this will be a good show for it, and I'm looking. I would watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely give it a chance.
Another
I like creepy stories. So.
Yes, and anthologies. Like anthologies are perfect. You're in and out. You're done. You're not committed to having.
Yeah, well, I guess it's kind of like Black Mirror has been super popular, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe that's spurring, because that's basically a Twilight Zone.
Yeah, you got Black Mirror. You got Room 104. You have Hulu's Dimension 404, and right now I feel like all these companies are trying to do these sci-fi horror anthologies, and again, I'm okay with committing a half hour, an hour to a good story that gets me in and out, and I don't have to commit to a whole season.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. One of the greatest mysteries in the modern world is how many people actually watch Netflix TV shows. Because Netflix will not reveal their numbers.
Okay.
And they won't. I mean, we get an idea if they'll renew shows if they don't, but who knows what their numbers are. Now, the Nielsen company that does the TV ratings, they've claimed that they have found a way to figure out who's watching Netflix shows, how many people are watching Netflix shows. I think it's mainly through like TV. Like if you're watching it on your phone, those numbers, I guess they don't have a way to measure those numbers. But they've come out in last weekend or earlier this week claiming how many people watched Stranger Things 2, the second season of Stranger Things.
Okay, and what's the number?
For the first episode, this was for the first 3 days. So this was Friday, Saturday, Sunday of last week. They claimed that the premiere episode, 15.8 million people, which is...
That seems low.
That puts it on par with being one of the most watched shows on TV right now.
Okay.
So that puts it about the same as Walking Dead, live +3.
Okay.
Which is live then the next 3 days with DVR numbers.
Right.
And that puts it kind of, I think, a little past or on par with with pretty much any network TV show. So that's a good number. I honestly was probably expecting a little higher too.
Just because but you're right, probably I watched it on my computer. I didn't watch it on my TV at all.
Yeah.
And some people would use their other devices.
Yeah, so if you're watching on your phone, streaming it, casting it on your phone, it's not going to count. So that number is going to be a lot higher. And then
I would bet some people don't have Netflix, so maybe they're having like viewing parties and stuff too.
Yeah, and that's a show that you could watch as a group too. That necessarily won't.
Yeah.
And they have released it on DVD, so eventually people will watch it on DVD. There's a number that they said an average, all 9 episodes had about an average of 4 million viewers. But the thing is you're going to have 16 million for the first episode, and then probably a lot smaller within 3 days for episode 9.
Yeah,
so
not everybody can watch the whole. They don't have the time to binge and watch all 9 episodes immediately.
Yeah, but they also somehow measured that there were, through the TV and all that stuff, 361,000 subscribers watched the entire series within 24 hours.
That was me. I literally started it on Friday before I went to work, and I finished it Saturday night before I went to bed.
So I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting that Netflix has been so secretive about the numbers. Now Nielsen's like, yeah, we've got stuff. So I wonder how accurate these are. That they broke Netflix's code to figure it out. Who's viewing. But I mean, also, I maybe expected more than 16 million, but for like a separate subscription service. And also I wonder if they count that among like separate views on accounts, because I know a lot of people will share their accounts. So like maybe,
or you have like, maybe I watched it and then my daughter watched it on her own separate account another time too, right?
Yeah. So I don't know if those are how that's all counted.
Yeah, the same subscription, but different accounts.
But for the first 3 days, I'm sure that number is higher now that it's been out for a while. Not everyone's going to jump on it right away. So I think it's weird. I feel like streaming when shows are streaming, and I thought this in my head, I wonder if this is going to make sense out loud, is when there's a network show, I normally feel like I have to watch it a lot sooner, where I notice that with my streaming shows, I let them kind of slack off a little bit. So to me, it's like, the network shows are almost like going to an in-person college course. I'll stay on top of it. I'll do this, blah, blah, blah. But the like Netflix and Hulu shows are kind of like my online courses where I'm like, I'll get to them when I get to them. And I let that slack. And because I'm one of those like learners that I'm horrible with online classes.
Well, and the thing about streaming too is like you have a chance to continuously build an audience.
Yes.
Right? Like with a show on TV, me, myself, and Irene, you don't get the audience, you're going to get canceled eventually.
Yeah,
right?
And I think that's actually...
I know when Stranger Things came out last summer, I was one of the only few people I knew in real life watching it. Now I have like so many people. Did you watch Stranger Things yet? Like, it built. It
was one of those that, and I think we were talking about this last week when it came out, there wasn't a huge outpouring for it.
No, they released the trailer, but they didn't do a huge ad blitz on it.
It's kind of a soft launch, and it was something that built over the next few weeks. All of a sudden, you got to one point, you're like, wow, everybody's watching the show.
People would start talking about 11. Everybody wanted to be 11 for Halloween.
Yeah, or Barb. No.
And that was it. I think Barb really did kind of propel that, because everybody's like, Barb deserved better. It was like, who's Barb? What's everybody talking about?
But it's really interesting to see kind of that grow that way. And so you're right.
You haven't finished watching it either, right?
No, I'm still 2 episodes.
So you're one of the people that are keeping those numbers low. Get watching.
Yeah, the numbers will grow. The numbers will grow. But yeah, you look at something like Riverdale, which I think it appeared here in the States. It appeared on Netflix 7 days after its finale, and so all throughout the summer it was on Netflix, and I think that helped get excitement for season 2 on the CW this year.
Because I know people who did not watch Riverdale last year. And now suddenly I had people like going, oh my God, it's in two days, #Riverdale. And they were going crazy. I'm like, you never mentioned it ever. And now you're going crazy for it. They must have watched it over summer.
Okay. Now I don't know what episodes these are for, if these are averages, but here's the 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess the 4 biggest network shows with live viewing plus 3 days of like DVR. And so you've got in 4th place, you got This Is Us with 17.1 million.
Okay.
In 3rd place, you have NCIS with 17.4 million.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
2nd place, you got Big Bang Theory with 17.9 million. And what do you think got 18.2 million viewers? What was the number 1?
Is it a TV show?
It's a TV show.
And it's network?
It's a network show.
Criminal Minds?
No, I don't think you'll ever see this coming. It's a new show.
Oh. A new show? Do I watch it? Oh my God, is it Dr. Sean Murphy?
It's Dr. Sean Murphy.
Yay, Dr. Sean Murphy.
Wow, 18.2 million views. That's amazing.
For the Good Doctor. Good stuff. That show's awesome. I'm not surprised it's getting numbers like that. But, so you're right. Stranger Things, whatever Nielsen is reporting, not too far off.
No, not too far off. It's pretty close to those shows. And again, they'll have the advantage of being on Netflix, and they'll get more viewers that way. But, wow. I'm kind of now shocked that they have not renewed that for season 2 yet. That's coming.
Oh, I'm sure it will be.
We got a full season. I bet that's gonna be ABC's first renewal for the next year.
They'd be stupid not to at those numbers. And I mean, I feel like more and more people are watching it each week.
Yeah, that was another one where the first episode did get good ratings, but I think it's one of those that I think it's a word of mouth show, and so you'll get more people.
Yeah, because I told my mother-in-law about it at Canadian Thanksgiving, and she was like, oh, I don't watch that show, and I was telling her about it. She's like, I'm gonna watch it. So
yeah, and that's one show that my mom is watching this year, and so I definitely think that's one that you're gonna get a lot of people like catching up with. So
yeah,
good for that. Good for Dr. Sean Murphy.
What they need to do over Christmas break is make sure they show those repeats of those episodes to get
100%.
people to watch when there's nothing on.
100%.
Except for Christmas shows.
And do like an on-demand push, do a Hulu push.
Yeah.
Get the word out
like
there.
This Christmas, catch up, right?
It's weird because I feel like networks show less reruns than they used to because they think it's kind of like a death.
Yeah. Well, one thing I have to give credit for is with AMC and The Walking Dead. I mean, they do a freaking marathon a few times a year, so that if you haven't seen it, there's no reason why you can't catch up on their station. And people watch it. My husband has seen every episode, and he still watches every single marathon when it plays.
And I think that's the smart way to do it. And so I think that during that break that it's going to take eventually, that would be a perfect time to try to push it even more. Yeah. and I do think good for that, for being kind of the runaway hit of the new TV.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice, and we've talked about him. We love him. He's a special character. We love him.
Oh, he's awesome. Every episode there's at least one line where I'm like,
I know,
are my hero, Dr. Sean Murphy.
Exactly.
And I also like how I feel like they're being less mean to him, so it's easier for me
They're starting to recognize his talent.
Because I liked in this, I think it was this past week's episode when when Dr. Melendez was talking to the one female doctor, and he's like, I think you need to act more like Dr. Sean Murphy. And like the way he was handling the situation or something.
She was like, he's like, that idea was brilliant. She's like, that was my idea. And he's like, no, it wasn't. It was Sean.
And at one point, it's like, you need to act more. Like, don't act too much like him, but you got to act more like Dr. Sean Murphy. I'm like, oh, even Dr. Melendez is finally coming around.
Warming up to him. I'm warming up to Dr. Melendez. So
I am too, even though he's got the douchiest Baratheon tattoo.
Yes, the stag.
With the little antlers poking out every week. Like, wear turtlenecks like Ryan from Survivor, dude.
Oh, God.
So American Housewife, that I call Fat Housewife, got 2 more episodes this season from ABC. So that's bumped it up to a 24-episode season. I'm enjoying this season of American Housewife.
It's been good.
Yeah, a lot of the times with second seasons, you're not gonna be kind of iffy. Like I'm not super loving Speechless right now, but I am.
Same.
I'm enjoying American Housewife, and I'm loving Superstore this year, which is its third
Oh,
season.
Superstore is the best.
Yeah, it's just, and you know what's nice about Superstore is that concept is one where they can always continually bring in new and different characters.
Except for the new character they brought on the
Except
show.
Kelly. I don't like Kelly. But that's one of those things because every week there's like, do we know who this Isaac is? Have we met Isaac before?
I don't think so. But you're right. And there's so many, like, what I almost more than the story I love is like the little in between scene things that they show, all these crazy things, which you have seen with your own eyes if you've ever been into a Walmart or Costco or I would assume a Target.
Any of those stores, yeah. Yeah, I kind of like those like short little like one-off snippets. Those are kind of funny.
Like people literally sleeping in a bed in the store. I've seen that.
And Sandra this week went crazy. I love Sandra.
Yes.
So we'll get more American Housewife, which is good. What's sad about Superstore is now it's on its winter break.
Oh.
And I'm wondering if we may not even see it until. I wonder if we won't even see it till after the Olympics.
The Olympics are coming up. I'm so behind on that.
Yeah. This week, today, NBC was making a huge deal that we're 100 days.
Oh, that's right. I saw them talking about the fires now in Korea.
Yeah, that's where it's getting. Yeah,
not North Korea. Well, good luck to the Olympics. I love watching the Winter Olympics. So.
Oh, apparently, I'm looking at an article. Superstore will be back for one episode in December, with a holiday episode.
Okay, well, at least it's something to look forward to. I was kind of hoping it would be remember they did the Olympic episode previously?
Oh, that was good. I was
hoping they do a Winter Olympic episode.
In between season 1 and 2. It still could happen. That was really, I like that they did that. One last news story, a lot of news this week, and not a whole lot of other TV shows. Apparently, Warner Brothers wants a Lord of the Rings TV series, and they're looking at Amazon. No.
You know what? I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. My kids have been watching that since it came out. We love it. No, that's not going to work on TV, not with the production value you need. And I just don't think there's a need for it. We've already told those stories perfectly, and I don't think we really need to go back to them.
I think part of the problem is Jeff Bezos went to his TV division, and he's like, I want the next Game of Thrones.
Then find a book that's like the Game of Thrones that's not Lord of the Rings.
And, well, we are getting a third season of Man in the High Castle, which I feel like if that was advertised better, that could have been bigger than it was, even though season 2 was kind of weird.
Yeah, I stopped watching season 2 because it was just like, wow.
I still liked it, and I really liked season 1 was amazing, and season 2 was still fine. But that's the case. They took a story from, was it Philip K. Dick? Maybe? It's from an author. They took a short story, and they adapted.
I mean, we never got our princess show. Let's do that. The Selection.
It's still so weird when I think about who could have been America. Remember who was cast?
There's this book called The Selection, and it's basically kind of like Bachelorette in a post-dystopian society. I don't know. Yeah,
with there's like a royal crown, and so all these women are like.
Amy Teagarden?
She was the first one. You know who the second one was? Because they filmed the pilot, then they refilmed it, and they refilmed it with Petra from Jane the Virgin.
Oh my God, I don't remember that. No, I
remember at the time I had no idea who she was, and I was like, "Who is this?" But now that I know Petra and love Petra, I'm like, you know what? Maybe weird casting, but she's good.
She's a fantastic actress.
When she does Anushka. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think Anushka is going to
be meeting you. I love when she says that.
she's fantastic, and I don't know if she would be right for America. Better than Amy Teagarden.
Yeah.
But that would have been that. But
I mean, there's tons of books out there that they could do. Look, we got that. What was that book? I don't know if it'd make a good TV show. The Knife of Never Forgetting.
That's becoming a movie with Tom Holland.
Surprise, surprise. Oh, surprise, Tom Holland, the new It Boy. The new Miles Teller.
And I'm trying to figure there's yeah, exactly. It's probably a little easier to work with. And I forget who the actress has been with him. But yeah, they're making that in the movie. They're filming it right now. But look at the 100. That's a book series.
Yeah. They went way off the story of the book.
Yeah, and I think a lot of these shows do, especially the further go.
And I mean, there's tons of like, I wonder what I want to call them, like a Game of Thrones type book. These kind of fantasy books where they take place in other worlds and stuff that you could still do. You don't have to do Lord of the Rings. Please don't do Lord of the Rings. Please, I beg you.
No. And on a TV budget, it's gonna look bad.
It's gonna be horrible. It's gonna be cheap.
It's gonna be bad. He's in it with Daisy Ridley.
Oh. Isn't she kind of old?
I think she's in her like mid-20s.
Okay.
He's not much older than. It's been a while since I've read those books.
Yeah, it's been 5 years at least for me. But
it's a screenshot. But yeah, so that's nice. Yeah, it's been a while since I read it. I'm trying to remember if I read the third one or not. But there's a lot out there that can be adapted to TV that we don't need a retread. It's just gonna look bad. It's gonna look cheap. We don't need another.
You can't compare it to a movie like The Lord of the Rings. Like that movie was like production-wise, cinematography, acting, directing. Any TV version is gonna look like some high school put together video project.
Yeah. They should like get a Canadian production company and have it be a Canadian show.
Oh, you want it to look like? Never mind. I'm not gonna say it.
What are you gonna say?
I'm not gonna say it. Mentally challenged people.
Oh, I did not know that's where you're going. I thought you were gonna say you want it to look like Slasher. Slasher had pretty good production values.
Yeah.
What was that show? Da Vinci's Conquest or something?
Well, they had Da Vinci. I don't know. They had two different shows with that Da Vinci guy. I never watched either of them.
Yeah, that's what I think of when I think of like low budget Canadian.
Oh.
You know, for the
think
low
of like
budget
Sliders. Show Sliders.
Yes, I do. I could eat a slider right now. Okay, this sounds delicious. Let's go ahead and talk about our TV shows this week. Is that there's kind of a trend right now, and the trend's been going on for a while, and that's like cooking and baking shows. And I feel like they're just like fun, feel good, enjoyable, just shows to watch. Like you feel good watching it, and they're fun and enjoyable. And bakers are kind of weird.
Some of them can be good, some of them can be horrid.
And so this all started obviously with the Great British Bake Off, which just finished its eighth
100th season, yes.
Yeah, 100th season, but on a new network. It left BBC. So with this year, the only returning regular was Paul Hollywood.
Yes.
And Paul Hollywood was the judge in our American baking show that CBS aired several years ago with Jeff Foxworthy as the host. And then he was one of the judges, and The Worst Human in the World won.
Yeah, that guy was a douchebag.
And that was only a one-season show, so then it was Paul Hollywood. And then ABC brought it back for the holidays 2 years ago with Johnny Uzzini, who's a pastry chef, and Mary Berry, who's the world's greatest human being. And the hosts were Nia Vardalos and Ian Gomez, a married couple, and their actors. And then they brought it back for an extended season last year with the same lineup of characters. And then so I was kind of curious what was going to happen this year. They're bringing it back. It's going to be another short season like the first one, which I don't really like. And everyone was like, well, will Mary Berry do it? Obviously, it's no, like, you don't have any of that BBC nonsense that you have over there. Is she going to come back for this one? Apparently, the answer is no, and Paul Hollywood is going to be the judge with Johnny Uzzini.
Oh, Paul Hollywood does not give a fuck about Mary Berry. No. He's like, I need a paycheck everywhere.
And apparently, Ian and Nia are both filming TV shows, and so they're bringing in two people I've never heard of to be the new hosts.
They should just get the judges from the freaking Great British Bake Off. I loved them this year.
They should, especially because they're film. I believe once again they're filming it in England, which is what they've done the last couple of years. So
really? I didn't realize that. Oh.
I think that they just go and use the same tent. I think
the same. That makes sense.
Right? Yeah. It's easy. It's quick. You don't have to do the setup. And so this year you had Prue and Paul as the judges. You had Noel and I don't remember the other lady's name.
Me either. She was adorable.
She was adorable. She was funny. And Noel was so weird, but he was really funny. I liked him.
When I first saw him, I'm like, what is this weird
goth,
emo, trans person doing on the show?
Guy who looks way too old to be looking like that.
But he's there was something so magical about him. And you know what? When he genuinely cared about the contestants.
I felt like he brought so much joy, and he was having fun, and I think
he's a magical human being. I love him.
And I think I liked these two better than I liked the previous.
I do. Hosts. Honestly, like, I mean, I didn't care so much about what was her name, the Sue, and what was their name?
Mel.
Mel, I didn't. Which one was the tall
Sue was the one that Sue. Sue Perkins.
Sue was fine. She had the funnier jokes. Mel was just whatever.
Mel was useless.
But I much preferred this year's. I loved them.
Yeah,
what a weird odd couple.
Yeah, it was such a bizarre pairing. But you know what? I liked them. It was fun. And I felt before the series came back, the new channel, I think Channel 4, they were like, oh yeah, we're going to update the show, make it more modern. It was the same exact show.
100% which was exactly the exact same show with different people.
With commercial breaks was the only change.
Yeah, well,
but
I don't.
Which I couldn't tell because I watched it online. Exactly, but you could tell it would go at the bottom and it would come back.
Yeah, sure.
Which with BBC it goes run straight through. But it was the same exact show. I enjoyed the contestants, enjoyed the challenges, and it was fun. It's just such a nice, fun, easy show.
That's what I love about British Bake Off. I mean, I watch a lot of reality shows. They're not cutthroat. They'll help each other if they have time. They genuinely seem to care if somebody's doing well or doing poorly. You know, just a different type of competitor on a show.
Yeah, it was a nice little thing. Now, my only problem with this is I watched the first 2 episodes back to back. And as soon as I watched those 2 episodes, I'm like, so-and-so's going to win.
Yeah, you did call it.
And so-and-so won. Which was kind of a weird thing, because that person did not win Star Baker the first 2 weeks. The person who ended up being in the finals with this person did. So I'm like, that person will make it far too. But there was something, I don't know if it was the edit or just something about that specific person, but I'm like, they're going to win.
You should have had a bake-off pool and you could have picked that person and won.
But I bet if they bet on the craziest things over there. I know, like with Australia Survivor, every week I would look at the betting pools for that. You know, I'm like,
they have crazy bets for their shows in Britain. Yeah.
And so I should have looked at what the betting odds were, because I just had that feeling right off the bat of who was going to win, and she did. But it was fun, and I like seeing things that are like different from what we would bake. Like they don't have cookie week; they have biscuit week.
Yeah. Well, they always they bring out some crazy. They're like forgotten cakes, and they're like cakes from like the 1700s.
Yeah, that like Queen Victoria and like Judy Dench. And then they're like
making financiers. You're like, what's that?
But I will tell you, I'm always disappointed by Pie Week, because I'm expecting delicious pies and it's nothing but meat pies. I'm like, what?
Yeah, and puddings. Puddings are not what I'm expecting, banana pudding with some Nilla wafers and whipped cream.
I still don't understand what pudding week means. I don't get it.
Black pudding.
And then this week they had
pudding is not a pudding; it's a sausage, people, stuck with blood. Ew.
And then this week they had like Italian week, and they made like cannolis, and that's cool. But I love the technical challenge. That's my favorite challenge of the show.
Me too.
And that's when they're given some crazy thing. Most of them don't even know what it is to bake.
Yeah,
they're given like
random thing.
Yeah, and they're given the directions, and then fortune cookies randomly. That was weird.
Yeah.
And then they're giving. I love how one person's fortune was like, I don't want to write another fortune. And then they're given like a very basic recipe. It doesn't give them everything they need to know.
You don't have all the amounts or the measurements sometimes, or the cooking temperatures or times. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's blind. It's a blind taste test that the judges will taste, and then they'll put them in order. And I love that part of the show. That's my favorite part. But I enjoyed the season, and at the end,
check it out. I mean, I know it's online to watch, or I think you could probably watch it on BBC
and
America website.
Eventually, the seasons do come to PBS.
Yep.
And then after they air on PBS, eventually they do come to Netflix. So there are a few seasons to watch on Netflix.
Yeah, they're good. You should watch them.
Is good. It's just a nice, good, feel-good show. And that's been copied by lots of countries, including Australia had a very good season.
Yeah, I liked their season.
Americans have been okay. There's an Irish one I haven't watched, but it's such an easy template and concept to just replicate. And now this week we got the Canadian baking show.
Yeah.
which is the Canada version of the Great British Bake Off. And it's the same exact show, and I love it. You can't
It's
complain
good.
about it.
The co-hosts are good. We got the knockoff Vanessa Hudgens and Eugene Levy's son.
Okay, what was so hilarious was I was watching this, and I'm like, who does this guy think he is? He looks like a young gay Eugene Levy. Like, seriously, why does he think
His last name is Levy.
And the funny thing is that it popped up with the credits. I'm like, Dan Levy, I don't know who that is. And it didn't even like register. Then all of a sudden we were typing in chat, and we were talking about a couple of the other judges. You said Vanessa Hudgens. I think that one judge looks like Fat Rogelio from Jane the Virgin, which he does. And then I'm chatting, and this other guy looked like a young Eugene Levy. And then in my head also, I'm like, wait a minute.
I'm like, that's the same last name.
I'm like, in my head, as soon as I type that, I'm like, is it his son? Because I remembered the Levy name, which that connection didn't make earlier. So I looked him up. Sure enough, I'm like, okay, so he looks a lot like his dad. Which is weird.
100%. If you ever watched CTV or SCTV in Canada growing up like I did with young Eugene Levy, except for the afro, he looks exactly like him.
Oh, and they're in that Schitt's Creek show together too.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize he was on that Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, which I've never watched. Yeah, but they're both in that show together.
Excuse me.
It's a weird title to say, and which was probably the purpose. But yeah, I was just so caught up. Guard, you look so much like him. And normally I always like make these jokes. So I think so and so looks like.
I have a couple comments about this.
Okay.
The desserts these people made. I know it's just the first week, but that would be the worst dessert on the Great British Bake Off. The best dessert we had. It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah, and I was kind of surprised by the star baker. I was like, really, she won?
I didn't feel like she deserved it, to be honest.
No.
I thought her stuff was kind of messy.
Yeah.
I loved Pierre. Spoiler, he's the first one to go.
Poor Pierre.
Yeah, I loved him. I thought he was funny. I dislike
his cake was a mess.
I dislike
what's the messy British guy?
Him, of course.
James.
He was mixing cakes in the pan with his hands. That grossed me out. I mean, I'm sure his hands are clean, and I know you have to touch the food when you're cooking it, but it just disgusted me.
His whole station was just so messy.
Yeah, and I was mad at the guy from Nova Scotia, from Halifax, that made like a gray brick with a piece of something stuck in it, and they like praised it so hard. It looked horrible.
Yeah, but it kind of did look like concrete. Yeah, it was ugly. It was ugly, but it looked like concrete.
Yeah, but there's some good characters on there. I think it's gonna be a good season. I can tell.
Yeah, I'm not yet attached to anybody yet, but it's so hard to mess up that format, and they did a good job. Where CBS somehow found a way with Jeff Foxworthy and that unlikable winner. That was not an enjoyable series.
No.
But you know what? I think they made some editing changes, and they changed it based on. I think they did some different things from the original, where at least the ABC version keeps it very similar to the British original.
Yeah,
which
just keep that format works perfectly. You don't need to change it.
Yeah, and just keep it there. So that's that premiered this week. It's gonna be on for the next few weeks, and I'm gonna keep watching. I enjoy it. It's just a nice, good, feel good format, and it's fun. I like it.
And you get to learn all the Canadian accents and hear the word vagina.
Which makes me laugh. And also it's kind of fun because obviously what they're going to bake is going to be a lot closer than like what I would think. Like if they're going to have like pudding week, I'm expecting puddings.
Yeah, unless people start doing like bread puddings too. We eat bread puddings here, but when I hear the word pudding, I'm thinking of like pudding pops.
I'm okay with bread puddings. But it was also kind of funny because you had the one lady make a Nanaimo bar. So you have a lot of maple syrup. And so there's a lot of like Canadian things here and there. And so, but at the same time, it's a lot more closer to what I'm used to than these weird.
Yeah, exactly.
But I like that as soon as they were like, oh, this week's technical is the Battenberg cake. I knew exactly what it was because I've been watching these shows for years. And all these Canadians are like, what's that?
Yeah, they have been watching the Great British Bake Off.
Like, I know exactly what a friggin' Battenberg cake is. And they made them do easy. Yeah, they gave them an easy one. Like that one lady tried like harder, like making more to it. But it was I thought they went easy on them. But it's just the first week. Hopefully they'll get better as it goes on. And then we got two other baking shows that are now on Netflix that Netflix purchased from other countries and are showing them as Netflix originals. One is The Big Family Cooking Showdown, which was a BBC show co-hosted by Nadia, who actually won one of the seasons of Great British Bake Off. And of the two shows we're going to talk about before we leave, I like this one the least. It was okay.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually preferred that one to the other one.
Oh, really? There's something about the other one I kind of like. I don't
think I would ever watch that other one again, to be honest.
Oh, I'm going to watch the whole series. I liked it. We'll talk about that one in a minute. But this one, again, I feel like it had a lot of similarities to the Great British Bake Off. I felt like it was another kind of a feel-good one. And I did it. I enjoyed it. But
so you got
definitely
3 family members going head-to-head against another family in the studio. They cook, and then they have to go home and cook something, and the judges come to their house, and they eat at the houses, and then they come back and cook one more meal in the studio. And then the best family
moves on to the semifinals, and we'll see them later on in the series. I thought the wrong family won.
Me too.
And
even though I'm so sorry, even though I'm not a fan of fish, and they seem to cook fish every meal.
Yeah, that's true.
I just thought the judges seemed to have praised their meals more than the other family, and I felt like there was less
why I was surprised that the other family won. And that the family that lost had this 86-year-old woman who might be the world's greatest thing. Torin, she was hysterical. She didn't even want to cook. She was just off talking to people, and it's just, oh my God, she was amazing. She was like a model back in the day, and
I would have eaten their Swedish meatballs. That was the only thing I would have ate, and their mashed potatoes.
Those look good, and but they had this like poached fish, crusted fish, which did not look good.
You can only get for 3 weeks of the year.
Oh yeah, it's a Norwegian specialty. And they seem to love that food, and yet the other team won, and I don't know why. My one funny thing is at the beginning they were talking about, we're making a 10-pound dinner, and I'm like, wow, that's gonna be a lot of food they have to make. And then later on they're like, they had a budget of 10 pounds. I'm like, oh yeah, this is British. They don't even weigh things in pounds.
The one family, their sauce was just fat, and that's all they could taste, and they still let that family win. No, you broke.
The marsala sauce. They did that in the last 2 seconds, and they totally messed it up. And so
they let them win. I don't think they should have won 100%.
And they were not the more interested. The other family had Torin.
We'll see what happens, because I will be watching the next few episodes and see how it goes.
But. Yeah, and so it's like it's gonna be a tournament. My other thing that I didn't like was I felt like having 3 challenges that were pretty much the same was kind of repetitive, and it kind of got old after a while. And then they tried to mix it up. The first one, you had 10 pounds. The second one, you're at home. And then the third one, they're like, oh, you have to impress your neighbors. I'm like, oh, are they going to cook dishes for their competitors to eat?
That's what I thought was going to happen.
The whole time, you're like, you're really impressing your neighbors. I'm like, who are the neighbors?
And you know what else pissed me off? Was that the one girl came over and looked at what were they from? Sweden? Swedish family, looking at how they made their pasta shapes and stuff. I was like, you cheating bitch, get up to your own table.
I'm like, oh, you're not impressing the neighbors, but then it wasn't even like they weren't even impressing it. I did not understand.
The only way they went back to neighbors is like, can I be your neighbor? I did love the two tasting judges. Those people, they made me laugh.
Yeah, that one Italian guy, and then the lady. Yeah, the older lady. And then the judges, Nadia, I thought was very personable, and Zoe was okay too.
Yeah, they're fine. Yeah. They're fine.
But so that's on Netflix. And I probably would too. Yeah, I probably have other things I should be watching. And then the other one's an Australian show called Zumbo's Just Desserts that I can see why you wouldn't like it. It's in the vein of like a Top Chef type show, and I know you're not the biggest fan. It's very structured, and you've got they come into this like poorly themed like baking factory. I just like how they try to like have this like baking factory theme like carried through. It's like, okay, switch on your stations. Let's watch this like light up lamp timer thing.
That's not one of the main things I hate about the show is that countdown noise.
Yes, I don't even think they're in the same.
It reminds me of that horrible season of Teen Wolf with those stupid guys that are interdimensional.
All of them.
Remember that one with they were steampunk villains?
Oh yeah, the The Doctors.
Yeah, those
Something
guys,
like
whatever
that.
they were called. They always made that same noise in that show. So I hate that noise.
Well, what bugged me is I don't even think that clock was in the same room that they were in.
Yeah.
Because you can never see them in the same shot. They had that random Gigi lady always in front of it, but you could tell that that was filmed in a different time than when she's like, 20 minutes left, I'm Brazilian. Like, you could tell that was not
I
done
hated her.
the same. She seemed useless.
She's ridiculous. And I really just don't care for Zumbo. I think he's so, like...
Of the three people, I liked Rachel the best.
She's awesome. I didn't hate her.
I noticed
what
she
I
was.
felt about him was like, you know, when you look at a magician and you're just like, you're so lame, stop thinking you're so cool.
Yes.
That's how I look at Zumbo.
So these people come in, and Zumbo apparently is a famous pastry person in Australia. And I will say some of his stuff is very cool to look at. I don't know how it would taste, but it's very cool to look at. And so then you have these amateur pastry chefs who do challenges every week, and obviously one will be left. They get eliminated one by one. And he's got a helper named Gigi, and she's Brazilian. That's all I know about her, Gigi Brazilian. And she walks around, and she just like looks at what everyone's making and tells them what time it is. And so it's a very structured. Yeah, she's like, so-and-so is making this, and so-and-so is making... I'm like, do you have any commentary? Are you just telling us what they're making? You're useless, Gigi. Yeah. I mean, it seemed a lot like... It seemed a lot like a standard Food Network cooking show. But I enjoy that kind of stuff, and I enjoy... It's got the strict formats, but I like it.
Two things I did love about it. Yes. I loved when that dark-haired man was like, oh, if I wasn't a used car salesman, I would have been a chef, and I would have made a... You know, I would have been famous for it. I would have made such an impression. And then he was like in the bottom two. Yes.
Well, what's amazing about him is both things that he made in that episode, his things did not set.
No.
The next episode, both challenges, his things did not set. He had 4 challenges and not a single one of whatever he was making
game set match. And the other thing was that I don't remember the doorman at the club.
Oh, yeah.
When he came up with his food he prepared with his nitro, and he came up and he just stand there so smugly, like they're gonna shit their pants how great this food is. And when they told him how awful it was, how he like almost cried, that was my favorite part.
I definitely think they're setting him up to be the villain of the show, because I think it's episode 3. They have to do stuff on, like, they have to make romantic desserts, and Love's he's like, I don't believe in romance. The gym is my romance, and that kind of thing. So they're really setting him up to kind of be the asshole. I think that flight attendant guy named Ashley, I think he's going to win. He's my guess for the winner.
Okay. I liked the blonde girl that won the challenge yesterday.
Yes, I liked her too.
I kind of liked the girl that was a mess and went home.
That's my problem. Is it's so obvious she was going to go home.
Oh, it was 100%. She was a complete and utter mess.
It's a disaster from the start. She like changed her. She was a disaster.
Because Gigi came and psyched her out.
Yes, Gigi. So yeah, they have 2 challenges per episode. The first challenge they all do, and Zumbo gives them a theme, tells them what they have to make, and then Zumbo and Rachel judge them. And I really like Rachel. And then the bottom 2, the winner gets to sit in this giant pink chair. That's what you get for winning. And then the 2 losers, the 2 worst desserts. The 2 worst desserts.
Yeah, they have to make some like super hard technical level 20 fucking baking challenge.
Yeah, so in the first episode they had to make this like mirror cake that you could like see your reflection in it. That looked amazing. It probably was disgusting to taste, but looked amazing. And their results, that the 2, especially the older Asian lady,
one literally looked like she took a shiny shit on her plate. It was so bad.
It's like I'm just gonna throw some.
She did deserve to go home, but it was bad.
It was
like his at least was rounded. Hers was just flat.
Yeah.
Flat. There was no dome shape.
With like a disgusting like tar topping on it. It was.
It was so bad.
And then in the next episode, they had to for the Zumbo round. It was something that he called a Franken-Zumbo. It was like a dessert in a dessert in a. It was like a meringue cake with like mini macaroons on top. And then it had like a brownie inside. You had to cut it and had layers. It had like a brownie base, like a lemon curd, a pound cake, and like more
No,
cream on it.
chocolate and lemon
And
sounds
yes, it was like
disgusting.
and like a raspberry layer, which is way too many flavors. And so
Don't
it
forget your
was
passion fruit, which they love in Australia.
yeah, it was so gross looking. But what was funny is you had the two people in the final. You had the used car salesman and then one of the random lady, brunette haired ladies. I think maybe the red haired lady. And like her cake looked bad from the outside. It was smaller, it was flat, it just wasn't very well meringued. And his looked beautiful. But when they cut hers up, she had all the layers and apparently it tasted great and looked amazing. And then his, it didn't set and he put the layers in wrong. He forgot the pancake. And so it's like
Oh my
one big
god.
mush. So they sent him
Ew.
home. But yeah,
Spoiler.
you're not going to watch it again.
I probably wasn't. I really didn't like that. And all I could think of when I was looking at that Zumba guy, he looked like my sister's ex-boyfriend, except a skinny version.
But he does kind of remind me. Now that you say it, the whole magician thing I think is a very good. I just think
Yeah.
they're like so cool and like so full of themselves.
I
And it's
also
like,
just hate when people are on a reality show. Like it happens on Top Model all the time too. They're like, "Oh my God, Zumbo's over there," and I was like, dying. I'm sure you even know him. Shut
I'm
up.
like, who is this guy? Even when they came in at first, they're like, oh my god, it's Rachel Clue. I'm like, who's Rachel?
Yeah,
I
I know.
thought she
Apparently
was like
she's a chef.
Yeah, I thought she was like a TV host, and then apparently she's a chef. I'm like, oh, okay.
She's like, I learned to cook in Paris, so I know what a Millie Frilly is. She did
When
not
she
say
said that
Millie
like
Frilly.
5 times in like a 10-minute, like, I'm Will. I'm like, it's called Millie Frilly Lady. I think I should know Rachel Clue.
I know better than you
I think
trained
I
in
know you
Paris.
do, Millie Frilly. Just the way she was saying it. And she said it so many times in such a short.
Millie
Like,
Frilly. Yeah, what a horrible name.
Woof Will. I'm like, no, Millie Frilly. That dessert looked interesting, the apple Millie Frilly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of baking shows going on right now. And
Yes.
again, those two, especially in this, can be found in Netflix. They're both available in the States. The Big Family Cooking Showdown is on Canadian Netflix, but not the Zumbo's Desserts.
Yeah, Zumba's Desserts I had to watch online. It's not on Netflix.
But yeah, so there we go. Yay, baking shows.
I'm sure next week we'll have even more exciting shows to talk about. There must be some sort of handyman show or some flip-flop show that we can.
I'm gonna rewatch old episodes of Bob Vila.
Well, we got Trading Spaces coming up soon, so.
Oh yeah, with Paige Davis coming back and a lot of the screeners. I like.
So we can definitely talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. Okay, so have a good week. Make sure you listen to us tomorrow at 9:00 with our usuals, Ryan and Arthur, and we'll see you next Sunday.
See you later.
Bye.